Above the dining hall, a crystal chandelier burned with borrowed elegance. Asterisk its light did not comfort, it observed. Every prism reflected. Years where presence existed without acknowledgement. Asterisk brilliance hovered overhead while dignity stayed buried. Beneath etiquette, asterisk light splintered through hand-cut glass, carving sharp angles across polished faces. Asterisk people seated their shared meals. Laughter, anniversaries, celebrations, none shared recognition. 10 years passed in proximity. Not connection. Visibility never arrived. That chandelier had seen everything. Asterisk it. Watched silence swallow effort. It watched contribution dissolve into expectation. It watched identity shrink into utility. Asterisk I stood near the extended mahogany table, positioned where movement was allowed but belonging was not. Asterisk a ceramic bowl rested in my hands, heavier than its contents suggested. Pressure traveled into bone. Fingers tightened. Circulation faded. Roasted. Pine nuts carried warmth. Asterisk aged balsamic. Release sweetness. Luxury filled the air. Taste disappeared. Asterisk only metal lingered. Sharp, restrained, unspoken. Asterisk opposite me. Beverly occupied the center without contest. Asterisk Chardonnay reflected chandelier light like approval. Asterisk, her attention remained elsewhere. A guest's vintage watch commanded admiration. Status recognized status. Her smile cut clean. Diamonds framed. Her throat like armor. Years of social climbing shaped every expression. She did not look up. A hand moved. Not an invitation. A dismissal. The same gesture reserved for staff. Pets. Anything functional. Asterisk instruction followed. Delivered smoothly. Leave it on the sideboard. No malice announced. Asterisk cruelty perfected through repetition. Sound collapsed. Forks froze. Porcelain hovered. Silence expanded. Asterisk 12 pairs of eyes evaluated. Hierarchy. Asterisk some reflected pity sharpened. By relief. Asterisk others revealed boredom reserved for objects assumed permanent. Asterisk then there was Julian. His gaze burned longest. Not with anger. Not with defense. With avoidance. A man who trusted me with cities. A man who watched me command teams. Counted in thousands. A man aware of budgets eclipsing 300 million. Asterisk. Yet words deserted him when dignity required presence. Asterisk his plate offered escape. Asterisk asparagus. Absorbed attention. Silence became survival. I did not comply. I did not hesitate. Stillness anchored. My breath. Steps redirected forward. Movement carried intention. Past spectators. Past judgment. Toward authority. Ceramic met wood. Asterisk sound traveled through. Crystal. Wine rippled. Eye contact landed. Masks cracked. Truth surfaced without heat. Asterisk. Help does not dine with guests. Ownership does. Time marked the shift. 4 in the afternoon. Transfer. Completed. Stone answered to my name. Sellers aligned under my authority. Asterisk every bottle. Corridor ledger. Chair followed new command. Shock thickened the room. No reaction necessary. No confirmation required. I turned away. Asterisk. Heels marked limestone with precision. Asterisk each step. Measured. Each echo final. Most would argue. Most would plead. Most would wait for validation that never arrives. Systems thinking taught differently. Failures demand structure, not emotion. Derailments correct through recalibration. I exited. Power left with me. The dining hall faded behind me, swallowed by its own opulence. Silence followed my departure like an echo that refused to die. Every polished surface, every crystal reflection, every whispered speculation in that room existed only to remind me of what I had been. Invisible, yet indispensable. Invisible, yet underestimated. Asterisk invisible, yet waiting. Asterisk by the time the door closed. The estate felt like a different world. Asterisk outside the carefully curated lights and manicured gardens, darkness had its own gravity. Asterisk Tidesbury was vast, a fortress of luxury built on invisible labor. A shrine to appearances. No one saw the cables hidden in walls. The plumbing rerouted, the small emergencies quietly fixed. Asterisk for years. My presence had been a hidden current, powering the systems, supporting the structure, maintaining the illusion. Asterisk, but currents can surge, invisible rivers can carve canyons in stone. I moved through hallways lined with portraits of a family too busy admiring themselves to recognize the foundation beneath their feet. Asterisk, every step echoed softly, not because the house was empty, but because the weight of truth hadn't yet entered. I paused at the library. The room was dark. Only the glow of my laptop slicing through shadow. I did not rush. Patience had become a weapon. Precision its extension. Asterisk, 10 years of observation had given me clarity. A map of vulnerabilities no one suspected existed. Asterisk, finger poised over keys. I inhaled the quiet of the night. Asterisk, the Tidesbury estate was a machine. And I had the schematics memorized. Asterisk, every ledger, every digital protocol. Every secret backdoor had been logged and calculated. Asterisk, they thought the legacy of their family was untouchable. I knew differently. 6 months earlier, I had quietly acquired the debt strangling this estate through a holding company. Asterisk, Beverly, absorbed in her social machinations, never noticed. Asterisk, Julian, oblivious, never questioned the quiet shifts around him. Asterisk, I had become the ghost in their financial infrastructure. Unseen and unthanked. Asterisk, but ghosts can return, and when they do, they are more terrifying than the living. Asterisk, keys pressed, portals accessed. Systems unfolded under my fingertips. Asterisk, every permanent privilege they had assumed was a vulnerability. I now controlled. Asterisk, spa access, private chef privileges, inherited discounts, private cabanas, all bound by my command, all subject to deactivation. Asterisk, I didn't hesitate. I didn't pause to savor. This was not revenge for display. Asterisk, this was justice for every slight, every ignored effort, every moment of being treated as less than human. Asterisk, a click here, a purge there. Asterisk, database after database, system after system. I struck with surgical precision. Asterisk, the North Wing Suites. The private cabana where I had once been forced to stand in the sun for hours, now flagged as structurally compromised. Asterisk, the irony was poetic. Asterisk, their veneer of stability, carefully constructed over decades, now matched by an equally cold digital collapse. Protocols updated, biometric gates realigned, master key cards reassigned, every access point, every digital fingerprint now recognized only my authority. Asterisk, as dawn crept over the Pacific, the Vance family would awaken to a reality entirely unrecognizable. Asterisk, no longer guests of privilege. No longer owners of borrowed status. Unauthorized occupants in a fortress that obeyed only one command. Mine. The glow of the laptop reflected against the darkened shelves like a rising sun of retribution. I observed logs scroll like pulses of a heart I had long repaired but never claimed. Asterisk, every click, every entry, every deletion confirmed decades of invisible labor finally accounted for. Asterisk, the nickname Mouse, once whispered mockingly by Mackenzie during last year's gala, now resonated differently. Asterisk, the quiet wife who had blended into the background, who had smiled and bowed and fixed and paid, was now a force they could not compute. Asterisk, they had spent their lives in appearance. Asterisk, I had spent mine in consequence. Asterisk, funds quietly allocated for emergency bailouts. Mackenzie's influencer escapades, Julian's indulgences, all traced, all controlled. Asterisk, I had funded them, protected their egos, masked their incompetence, and I had done so willingly, believing in the sanctity of marriage, the contract of loyalty. But belief is not a shield against exploitation. Years of unreciprocated care, years of invisible stewardship, had left an account now overdue in their reckoning. Asterisk, Julian, my husband, had been the hardest variable. Asterisk, a man trapped in a psychological prison built brick by a narcissist mother. Asterisk, each polite nod, each measured silence, each obedient glance had been drilled into him since childhood. Asterisk, he was a spectator in his own life, waiting for permission that would never come. Asterisk, and I had no intention of waiting any longer. Asterisk, I closed the lid of the laptop, letting the soft click reverberate like a gavel in an empty courtroom. Asterisk, 11 years as a ghost. 11 years as the unseen engine. 11 years of patience and precision, now converging into a single, undeniable act. The foundation was leaving. The structure would scream. Asterisk and I walked away, calm, resolute, unstoppable. Morning arrived like a slow, deliberate witness, brushing light over the estate with soft inevitability. Asterisk the air was dense, heavy with anticipation, as if every polished surface, every corridor, every gilded corner had absorbed the shock of the previous night. Asterisk silence had its own sound here, a tense hum, a pressure that could be sliced with a knife. Asterisk I moved through the kitchen, coffee in hand, feeling the warmth anchor me. Asterisk the first sip grounded thought, sharpened calculation, distilled rage into clarity. Asterisk then came the rhythmic, confident tap of heels. Mackenzie, not alone, not casual, not idle. Asterisk her phone, mounted on a gimbal, reflected the rising sun in a ring of harsh white light. Asterisk predatory in her intent, she approached. Lens pointed at me. Her followers did not know the weight behind my gaze. She broadcasted every humiliation in real time, monetizing my silence as if it were a performance. Asterisk point of view, she chirped, a mockery dressed as social commentary. You tried to claim ownership because of brunch mimosas, isn't she precious? Asterisk her voice high, performative, polished, designed to entertain. I did not flinch, I did not respond. Asterisk the family group chat chimed. Asterisk Beverly's words pinned at the top. A carefully constructed narrative. Asterisk my ownership reframed as a temporary mental episode. Asterisk my action, my strategy. My meticulous execution reduced to delusion. Pity packaged for social digestion. Even Julian, complicit in silence, endorsed this rewriting of reality. The weight of irony pressed into the kitchen air. I glimpsed Mackenzie's reflection in chrome. Her perception was warped. She thought she controlled the story. Asterisk. She thought I was a prop. Asterisk she could not see the calculations, the infrastructure of my preparation, the depth of strategy behind my calm. Anger is fleeting. It burns hot, then leaves charred emptiness. I had traded passion for precision. Cold, clinical execution became my fuel. My phone buzzed again. Not a family chat this time. Asterisk an encrypted message from Ethan, the property manager I had retained months prior. Asterisk management files ready. Legal team on standby. All systems operational. Asterisk ready when you are, boss. The manager's office became sanctuary. Glass, dark oak. Absence of noise. No opulent distractions. No social pretense. Asterisk just the tools of command and a ledger of truth. Asterisk
Ethan did not rise. No forced politeness. No rehearsed acknowledgement. Only efficiency. The deed is cleared.
Tidesbury officially belongs to you as of 4:02 yesterday,
He said. I opened the binder. Pages stretched before me like battlegrounds mapped with meticulous care. Asterisk every exploit.
Every misused privilege. Every fraudulent entry meticulously documented. Asterisk Beverly had treated the North Wing as her personal extension, draining accounts while projecting wealth. Asterisk Mackenzie had exploited the grand ballroom for influencer events. Asterisk costs tallied. Labor and catering calculated. Security fees accounted, none traced in legitimate accounts. Asterisk they had been parasites thriving on an unaccountable host. Asterisk I traced my thumb along the red ink, imagining the world if I had not acted. Asterisk 10 years hence, still clearing plates, still bending under condescension, still invisible in the peripheral vision of the powerful. Asterisk a woman erased, a career reduced to service, life diluted into silence. But I had acted. The restructuring was total. Notice to quit documents drafted. No exceptions. No inherited privileges honored. Any failure to present proof of payment. TRESPASSERS. And then came discovery darker than mere greed. Vance family trust accounts. Forged signatures. 6 months post-burial. Funds siphoned for Beverly's personal use. Operational accounts laundered, disguised as consulting fees. Tax evasion. Federal crime. Julian's signature appeared as secondary approval. Asterisk unaware. Obedient, trapped in maternal programming. Yet legally implicated. The Vances were not just ungrateful. They were criminals, oblivious to their own exposure. Asterisk. The narrative of the family as refined, upright, untouchable. Shattered before it could even be questioned. I did not flinch. I did not hesitate. Asterisk the law. The ledger, the architecture of power, all aligned. I closed the binder with a snap sharp enough to echo, not vengeance for spectacle. Asterisk vengeance for justice, for recognition, for balance restored. The gala would arrive. Silk gowns, champagne flutes, curated smiles. Asterisk Beverly would stand at the center, unaware of the collapse beneath her feet. Asterisk every stolen check, every misappropriated fund, every privilege now traced, now accountable. And I would step forward, not as the mouse, the silent wife, the overlooked technician. Asterisk, but as the architect, the executor. The authority she had ignored for a decade. Asterisk the gala began under chandeliers that had once symbolized my invisibility. Asterisk now. They reflected something entirely different. Inevitability. Asterisk the air buzzed with curated conversations, the subtle hum of admiration, and the soft clinking of crystal. Asterisk guests floated through silk and satin, unaware of the storm about to descend. Asterisk every laugh, every polite nod, every carefully measured smile existed in a fragile bubble. Asterisk that bubble was about to shatter. Asterisk Beverly. Center stage, radiated control. Asterisk her glass raised high, a trophy for years of deception. Asterisk my legacy stands as firm as these cliffs, she proclaimed, her voice echoing against vaulted ceilings. Asterisk not a single soul realized the cliffs themselves had begun to crumble. I did not pause. I did not allow hesitation. Asterisk I had spent a decade learning to move in silence, to calculate, to observe. Asterisk years of unnoticed labor, of quiet contribution, had trained me to strike precisely, without drama, without overstatement. My appearance alone was a statement. No navy dress to blend, no meek posture to disarm. I emerged in a charcoal silk suit, tailored for authority, for declaration, for reckoning. Every eye turned, confusion rippled through the crowd. Asterisk shock anchored Beverly's smile. Eyes that once cut like knives now faltered. Sit down, she hissed, her voice trembling for the first time. Asterisk a command, thinly veiled, as control now betrayed weakness. Asterisk I'm in the middle of a toast, she added, attempting composure. I did not obey. I did not retreat. Asterisk I took the microphone, letting its hum pierce the chatter like a scalpel, the room still, every ear tuned to the unfolding revelation. Asterisk the Vance legacy is not standing on cliffs, I said, calm, precise, unwavering. Asterisk it stands on $900,000 of forged signatures and $110,000 in unpaid property taxes, which I have already resolved. The crowd leaned closer. Whispers began to thread through silk gowns and polished shoes. Asterisk shock was now audible. Documents unfolded from my portfolio. Notice to quit orders. Forensic audits. Wire transfers. Asterisk every page a testament to years of deception. Beverly's face drained color. Panic glimmered behind perfectly painted eyes. Asterisk that, I said, pressing a paper into her hand, is your eviction notice. Asterisk these are the records of the financial manipulations executed through this estate. Asterisk as of yesterday. This property, every stone, every ledger, every asset, belongs to me. Asterisk Julian stepped forward, panic etched into every line of his face. Asterisk Elena, stop this. This is private. We can talk in the library, he urged, his voice shaking, for once unsteady. I looked at him. Years of inaction, of observing injustice without resistance, crystallized in that moment. Asterisk, you spent 10 years watching me clear the plates, I said, voice even, cutting through the room. Asterisk, now you will watch me clear the house. I turned back to the gathered elite. The Vance family lease is terminated, effective immediately. Security is stationed at every suite. You have 30 minutes to collect personal belongings. Asterisk, Everything left will be seized and auctioned to offset debts owed to this estate. Screams erupted, phones fell, screens shattered on marble, social media, influence, privilege, all meaningless in the face of absolute authority. Asterisk Beverly looked around. Asterisk the circle of admiration she had built for decades. Collapsed. Asterisk friends, peers, status symbols. All reflected the horror of exposure. No mask remained. No hierarchy protected her. Asterisk I leaned in, letting only she hear. The help does not wait, I said, voice low, lethal in its calm. Neither do I. I stepped down, walking through parted crowds. For the first time in 10 years, I did not shrink. I did not apologize. I claimed the space I had earned. I had been the architect of their world. Now, I was the executor of its restructuring. Asterisk the estate quieted. Asterisk the noise of entitlement, of petty demands, of inherited arrogance, replaced by the sound of ocean wind and distant waves. Asterisk Julian, tethered by fear and habit, left with Beverly, dragging helplessness into a legal storm. Asterisk the North Wing began renovation. Asterisk spaces once abused for vanity now destined for creation. Innovation, purpose. Asterisk young architects, engineers, dreamers would inherit what had been stolen. Asterisk I sat cliffside with coffee, wind tearing across Pacific rocks. The spreadsheet of debts, slights, and misappropriations lay open. Names traced. Balances corrected. Injustice quantified. I felt no regret. No anger, no tear, no longing. Asterisk only immense satisfaction. Systems balanced. Accounts reconciled. Power reclaimed. Finger hovered over trackpad. The directory of past grievances, labor. Unacknowledged. Control abused. Awaited deletion. I pressed. Gone. Final, silent. Asterisk for 11 years. I had been invisible. A ghost. A servant. A stabilizer. Now I was visible. Now I was unstoppable. Now I was justice. The tides moved beneath the cliffs. I smiled quietly, sipping coffee. The estate, my labor. And my mind aligned for the first time in a decade. Asterisk the world watched, and for once I held all the power.